Okay, the next thing we want to do is learn how to solve an equation with fractions. We've actually seen a couple like this already, but there are actually a couple ways you could do it here. First of all, you could do it by what I call method 1, which is combining fractions. So you can just take this 2/3 x and you can subtract 7/3 x. And most of you, because you're experts at fractions now, you can just do that by hand and you would get negative 5/3 x. Now, if you still need to use your calculator, that's okay. But what you're going to do is you're going to type in the 2/3 and then you're going to do subtract 7/3 and you get negative 5/3. Now the thing is, you can't type in the x. I mean, there is an X button in your calculator, but if you try to type that in, your calculator doesn't deal with symbols well. If it sees symbols, it pretends they're 0. So you'd get a 0 here. So don't use the X button. Just type in only the two numbers, and you just have to remember at the end that instead of negative 5/3, you had a negative 5/3 x. So you just have to remember that on your own, but that's not too bad. And then I get 1/2. And if you remember from the last couple sections, when you have a fraction in front of the variable, you can multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply 5/3 by, or negative 5/3 by negative 3/5. And do that to both sides. And those cancel, and you get x equals, well, 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, and 2 times 5 is 10, and then you'll want to check your work. So that's one way to do it, and that's probably the way most of you are used to doing it. There is a second way that you can do it if you want to, but it's completely up to you how you do it. So my second method, let me rewrite the problem here. Actually, I don't need to rewrite the problem. I'm going to use magic. Check this out. This is cool. So copy, paste. It's like magic. Actually, it's called copy paste. But anyhow, what I could do is I could think of a number that cancels both a 3 and a 2. So whatever number I put up here has to have a 3 and a 2 in it. Well, how about 6? Doesn't 6 have a 3 and a 2 in it? I think it does. So what I can do is I can multiply both sides of this equation by 6. And watch what happens when you do that. 6 times 2/3 x, and then minus, and then 6 times 7/3 x. And then here, 6 times 1/2, well, that one I can do really quickly in my head. That's just 3. And the other ones, well, this 3 cancels there. I get 1 and 2. So 2 times 2, I get 4x. And then here, I divide both of these by 3. I get 1 and 2. And then 2 times 7, I get negative 14x equals 3. And now I don't have fractions anymore. That's why we call it clearing fractions. So you just look at each denominator and think of the smallest number you can that would cancel every single denominator. For this problem, it was 6. So now I just have a regular old problem with no fractions. 4x minus 14 is negative 10x equals 3. And divide everything by negative 10. And you end up with x equals negative 3/10, just like we did here. This negative that was in front of the 10, I just moved it out in front of everything. You can do that. But I got the same answer either way. Now, some people don't like clearing fractions. Some people love it because they can do it in their head. They're so good at it. If you're going to do it, I don't want you to do it in your head right away. But if you don't want to do it this way, then just combine the fractions using your calculator. It's completely up to you. You know, it's kind of like, I always tell people, it's like tools in your toolbox. I'm giving you more tools to use if you want, but you can pretty much use a hammer to fix anything, really. I mean, I know, because if something doesn't work, if you just hit hard enough with the hammer, eventually it works. So you do what you want to do. But now you got more tools. So I'll talk to you later.